Another fabulous day in Kuala Lumpur here at the MBPJ Stadium for Kuala Lumpur 2017 as the city awakes after a fantastic opening ceremony last night in which thousands were enthralled not just at the stadium but throughout the television networks. The Rugby Sevens continues its day 2, men's and women's round robins, and later in the day we'll be into the medal matches. It's warm and humid, but very calm. It's still out here. It's Sunday morning, 10 o'clock in Kuala Lumpur. The players have been here for quite some time, warming up, particularly those for the early matches. And we'll have a look at the schedule where we'll have 3 men's games, followed by 2 women's, and then a further 3 men's before we enter the playoff situation. Girls got game, that's for sure, and the women here have provided some remarkably exciting sevens rugby, a sport which is taking off around the world, particularly since it's been added to the Olympic Games. So we see there that Thailand had a great day yesterday in the men's. They defeated the defending champions Philippines, and they are on maximum points. And Thailand in the women's also with a very good record of 4 from 4, conceding just 12, just looking at their results here, and they've conceded I think 15 points in those 4 games, so it's been very good defensively as well. So those are the teams who are competing in this SEA Games 2017 rugby competition. Malaysia played 3, have won 3, have beaten Cambodia, Singapore and Philippines. Thailand, Philippines and Singapore have all conceded 1 game, so they're still definitely in the medal hunt. All depends on what happens today. 3 men's games: Indonesia, Cambodia, Malaysia, Thailand and Philippines against Singapore. That's a fantastic match to end that 3 men's games. And then we move into the women's bracket of Laos against Singapore and Philippines and Malaysia. Very pleasant conditions, but of course the host nation crowd, as usual, the noisiest. The first of the games is a men's round robin match between Indonesia and Cambodia. Indonesian lineup there. And then for you the Cambodian team. And they're ready to go for this opening game. Indonesia playing in the red, their familiar red uniforms. They sometimes appear in the white tops with red. Shwayudi. 2 coaches, of course, will get really close to the action here in these comfortable seats and the shelters along the sideline. The referee begins this game. Indonesia playing from the left and the red and white against Cambodia. Neither of these teams has scored a victory so far in the championship, and they'll be feeling the pinch a wee bit. It was a long day yesterday, 3 matches each. Oh, not feeling the pinch though, right from the kickoff. 2 swift passes and Indonesia score within 30 seconds. of the opening whistle. That's the perfect start. Claiming the kickoff. 2 swift passes, accurate passes, a conversion. And here it goes, this nice little break, beautiful offload, cutting on the inside, steps on the outside, and then it's just pace that carries him to the line and underneath the crossbar. The first points of the day, and Indonesia, a spectacular start to this game, up by 7-0.
Knock on.
This is just the sort of beginning that a coach would have been wanting after his team, Indonesia, had lost their 3 games yesterday. They were beaten 47-0 by Philippines and then conceded 50 points in their next 2 games against Thailand and Singapore. So they've had the message put through to them that they're a far better team than what they showed yesterday. Oh, that's a poor and simple mistake. Having offloaded nicely in the lead up to the try. He now drops a sitter of a pass and hands possession over to Cambodia for the first time in the game.
Set.
Clearance along the ground, but under no pressure. Oh, a lovely time with the ball, but the Indonesian defence was alert to that. They closed the gap well. Kick and chase doesn't often work unless you've got a real speedster, and if the ball sits up for him, doesn't quite. And Indonesia able to clear. Will they run it from here? They try to, and that's a messy play right underneath the goalpost. The idea was good, but the completion of the pass left a lot to be desired. A little bit of hesitation, and then firing a pass high underneath the posts makes it very difficult for the receiver. With the post and the crossbar sometimes just blocking the view. 7-0 Indonesia lead. First half of this opening game on day 2 of the Sevens.
Set.
Oh, pressure underneath the over the try line, and the referee's not too sure whether there've been any prior infringement. Knock on. He's just checking with his assistant referee.
Not try.
No try. There had been a knock forward just before the line. There it goes again. They did put Indonesia under all sorts of trouble. Oh, I'm not convinced that that was in fact the case. That was over the goal line. I think that was over the goal line, and Cambodia might feel a little bit hard done by. Now they concede a free kick. But they've done some good attacking in the last couple of minutes, having conceded that early try. These 2 teams looking to get their first win in the competition. Smothering defence by Cambodia. They have to make sure of these tackles now. This man is swift and elusive on his feet. Oh, quick defence right in the face of Indonesia, putting them under pressure, but Twinkle Toes moves. Whoa, all the way. He's got players both sides of him, and one lone Cambodian defender snuffles out that attack, but it's not over yet, and 3-on-1, second try for Indonesia. Five minutes gone. Again, the flag goes up. It's 14 points to 0. That really is against the run of play, though. And Cambodia, who'd done so well with their defence, were just undone by this twinkle toes number 12. And the support was either side of him. He had options. And eventually the numbers outweighed for Indonesia. Into the final minute of this opening game of day 2. Awkward ball to that bouncing ball. The oval shape of it, of course, is one of the facts about rugby sevens, which makes it such an intriguing game. We saw that earlier when Cambodia were on attack and there was a little kick through, and on occasions the ball might have just sat up for the player, but it didn't, and he wasn't able to gather it. Otherwise he would have been in for a try. It might well have been 7-all or 7-5, but as it turns out it's 14-0 to Indonesia. Good tackle which dislodges the ball, and this will favour Cambodia. They get the put into the scrum.
Come here. Bola masuk, bola push. Cross. Set. Yes.
Now a chance before half-time. This would be fantastic for Cambodia to get up and score some points. They haven't done much wrong. They've been undone by some brilliant individual play, some great sidestepping. They have recovered well. This is a good setup for them now. They've got some solid players in here. Oh, but the Indonesian defence is alert to that. They can't use that short space of the sideline. Cambodia, though, a penalty right on half-time. The referee acknowledges it. The hooter is sounded. Oh, hard luck for Cambodia, and that will bring the half to an end. And with a brilliant start by Indonesia, scoring within 25 seconds of the opening. They led by 7 points to 0. They were put under the cosh by Cambodia, but then responded with a breakout try, and at half-time they lead by 14 to 0.
Oke, sabar, lihat sinyal wasitnya. Oke, tenang. Oke, mainkan alurnya. Jadi saya tahu udah capek, tapi mainkan aja ke kanan dan ke kiri. Dia tadi udah deg-degan di belakang, tapi coba ya, main teamworknya udah bagus, lanjutkan aja. Bangnya cepat ambil keputusan, Bangnya 2 kali itu gagal, mending passing aja dulu. Oke. Kamu kebaca masalahnya. Oke. Ya, itu forward, ingat garisnya, jangan terlalu banyak tidur.
Lihat apa em hút nước khổ mà hạp đi hút nó lên trái à.
Ok, kia thế nào? Người kia thế mày bạn. Trong một đó đây kia trong ba sợi đấy một hai dòng đi. Nào hai dòng ọt thằng mà chui kia vui nhá. Ba mấy nhà thợ sĩ gì. Đây kia chứ nó giảm nhẹ nơi bị lơ tập họ từ sắp chết lá tập họ. Số này kia bên là ban du à. Rồi phong tí năng lên là lo.
Bisa, lebih bagus lagi. Oke, siap.
Indonesia on 3. 1, 2, 3, Indonesia! Ayo bagus. Guys, biar kick.
Let's go. Blue ready?
Second half of this match underway, with Cambodia having a fair bit of work to do if they're to get back into this match and get some points on the board and close the gap. They're down by 14-0, but really they've played better than that. First real action, moving the ball across, no-look pass. The Indonesian defence is across in numbers, but still a nice offload. Big fend close to the line. Cambodia sensing that this is their chance early in the second half, and they take it. Brilliant start for Cambodia in the second half. Well, whatever was said at half-time, it certainly revved this team up. Vanara, the number 11, showing good pace down the sideline, and he adds the points as well. 14-7. He's been quite an energetic player, standing out with the bright blue boots. So that's better for Cambodia. Indonesia now face the task of getting back and extending their lead. They lead by 7 now. This is better play than we've seen in the first half, as both teams now seem to be settled down. They're moving the ball wide, and here he goes again. Showed the speed in the opening stanza with a try, and now immediately Indonesia hit back. A deflated looking Cambodian side, having worked so hard to claw back the deficit, now see it extended. It's 19-7. Difficult conversion. Oh no, not that difficult. 21-7. 3 converted tries for Indonesia. And that's genuine speed. No need to use those twinkle-toed side steps anymore. He just beat them on the outside. Got a substitution coming up for the leading team now, Indonesia. Just remembering that they had losses to the Philippines, Thailand and Singapore. Cambodia were beaten by Thailand, Malaysia and the Philippines yesterday. So each of these teams looking for their first win.
Okay, down. Behind.
Cambodia intent on just playing it physically, taking it up short. Nice support now. Drive goes in from the Cambodians. So want it released now, playing an advantage to the referee. 21-7. They need to get in, take advantage of this quickly. This is Vuthi. And again, he's back into the half-back position now. Just driving it, keeping it close. They've moved on a few metres now, but they had advantage initially. The advantage had been played, and Cambodia turn it over in the tackle. 21-7. 3 minutes to go. Still time for Cambodia to get up and win this, but they can't afford to be staying in this part of the ground. They need to make some impact with the ball they get. A quick hook, but untidy. Infield pass. Suddenly there's a big gap, and suddenly it's all over. Cambodia trying so hard to make use of their ball, and they make the mistake, open up a gap, and allow Indonesia to whip through and score their 4th try. 26 points to 7. Very much an uphill task now as the conversion is taken. And that was just a player finding a gap, running himself into the space, calling for the ball, and the pass was delivered to his hands. All he had to do was make sure he caught it. 28-7.
Bisa ya kada bisa ya dalam badan di keluar. Extra man. Oh, time stop. Extra man.
Injury, they're just I think saying we've got an extra man on there. I think that's what the referee is saying. He's just waiting till the injured player is escorted off the field. 28-7. Now the restart. The restarts have been quite good in general. This one though gives Cambodia quite a bit of room, but just running sideways. Lucky to be able to get the pass away, but that kick, all it does is give the possession back to Indonesia, and with just over a minute remaining, Cambodia didn't want to be making tackles, they want to be scoring tries. Duart makes the tackle, but it was high according to the ref, and so we have an advantage Indonesia's way, and they've got numbers out here, and they've got speed, as we know, and that's very good speed again, and a sidestep. The defence covers well, but there's support. Players able to use that. Cambodia, desperate tackle. They've knocked it on. The line is now open though, and here's the clincher. Spectacular dive. 33-7. Indonesia do get their first win. $28 points to 7, and the conversion will take us through to the 7-minute mark. And the flag goes up. It's 33-7. Comfortable victory in the end for Indonesia over Cambodia. Five tries to 1. The 5th of them ended with a spectacular dive. 35-7. Indonesia have beaten Cambodia.
Indonesia versus Cambodia. Indonesia 35, Cambodia.
Match we have is between Malaysia and Thailand. It's a Malaysian lineup. And from Thailand, there'll be Lots of noise here for this game. Malaysia involved. The support really from the home nation has been, as you would expect, really outstanding. They've set themselves high hopes here in all sports, of course, and hoping to top the medal tally all round. They'd certainly like to prove a point or two here at the sevens. Malaysia were runners-up in 2015. Their coach is Saizal Afifi. Captain is Azmi, Zulkifli Azmi. He will lead the team from Malaysia onto the field to great support from the crowd here. Team from Thailand also with very vocal support. The Malaysians in their dark with the orange, of course. Pre-match ritual. Thailand in their extremely vibrant yellow. Puasant, Thailand, very vocal coach. He's been working hard with this team to ensure that they do get up and create a big impression here. So Thailand, they had a close loss to Singapore, 21-19. And then they've beaten both Indonesia and Cambodia. The Malaysian team ready to accept the kickoff. This is the second match of the day. Malaysia to your left. They changed direction. The receivers were waiting out on the left, but the kick didn't go that way. The first line out. Don't think we had a line out in the previous game that I can recall. Lots of stoppages, but not for the ball going out of play. Nice tap down. Thailand, that's the 22, and it's centre field for them. And this nippy little halfback looking for the offload. Oh, he might even scramble all the way. Can't do the double movement. Nice offload and a very good start. Thailand score the first points with a try to Panupong. And that scored in 70 seconds. Oh, this is really stunning the Malaysian audience, and I think the players too, the Malaysians. They had a great day yesterday, but their coach warned them not to get too carried away with it. Is that curving in? It is. 7 points. Try to Panupong, number 7. Yesterday, the Malaysian team started convincingly with a 51-0 win over Cambodia, and then they beat Singapore 12-10.
He pulled it back.
And then in a big clash, they overwhelmed the favoured and defending champions Philippines by 24-14. Malaysia down by 7-0, getting their first taste of possession now. Hesitancy. Tackles made, 2 tacklers, and forces a turnover, and they've got numbers out if they can spread it. There's a gap there as well. Laboured pass. Defensively, Malaysia having to work very hard and not making the tackles. The offload comes. Again, numbers out wide. They take it infield and get a penalty for being offside. Thailand attacking extremely well. Going for touch. So this will give them the throw-in to the line-out. That's
Make sure
Corn.
there's a hooker. Yeah.
This man here has shown that he's willing to take it up all the time. Malaysian defence being asked a lot.
Black hold, 8. Wait.
Nice line out throw and well taken too. Oh, this is a great set.
Advantage.
Fantastic work by Thailand. Oh, and the dummy and almost through.
No hands.
Still there for them. Here it goes, another short dab. He twists at the line but hasn't scored.
No advantage.
Come back for another penalty. So Malaysia really under a lot of pressure here from this Thai team. They're going quickly. You could see the line open up for them.
No hands.
Set again. Delivery. Oh, they need to be careful here with some of these passes.
No hands.
Malaysia. Wow, their defence really holding well. That was a good hold by the Thai attacker because he realised that his supporter was in front of him. And that's brilliant work by Malaysia. Great defence and throwing the ball away after the whistle. And an embarrassed grin on the face of Klin. Here he was just struggled back, pushed back. Now what happens here? Do we see it? Here he goes. The whistle sounds and we didn't see what happened, but I think he must have tossed the ball away. So in the sin bin, a couple of minutes. So this could well be a turning point in the match. Malaysia have been under pressure from the Thai attack and they look as though they're feeling it. They go for the scrum.
Let's go. Crouch. Bind. Set.
Oh, and Thai win it. They need to get the ball though. Sliding down, just halting proceedings, and they get a penalty. They take it quickly. There's no need to take it quickly. They can soak up some of that time with which they've got a player in the sin bin. But so long as they retain possession, they'll be happy. Oh, and that's a bad miss. Corn, he's done everything well. Knows that that is a very bad mistake. All he's done is drop the ball, but what it means is that possession now goes to Malaysia.
There's more.
His eyes perhaps a little bit towards the gap that he could see that he was preparing to take if he'd
Crouch.
held the pass.
Bind.
7 players against 6. Again, good push by Thailand in the scrum. Gives their players a chance when the scrum breaks up to get out and fill the defensive positions.
Tackle. Finally released.
Amir Nazrin tried to get through, then plays it on the ground. No, offside they're saying. 7 minutes gone, the hooter sounds, and Thailand might just play it for touch and head off for the break. And they'll be very, very relaxed that they are leading against the now favourite Malaysian team by 7 points to 0 at half-time.
Nên mìnhต้องมองเฮ้ยเมื่อกี้เวลาเราไปล้างฝั่งนู้นนี่เลยแยกอยู่ตัวเดียวอ่ะพยายามเฮ้ยพอไปล้างฝั่งซ้ายอ่ะใจเย็นนะฝั่งซ้ายอ่ะทางขวาตัวริมอ่ะมึงพยายามไปยิงไกลๆไม่ได้จังหวะสาดแม่งเลยเขาเรียกเขามีวงเข้าใจป่ะไอ้ตัวที่เป็นเราเป็นยิงแค่กับมันไปไม่เป็นไรแต่ตัวริมเราอ่ะห่างออกหน่อย
Bila Juki dah terangkat belakang, tolong seorang lagi pergi dekat dia, jangan hayatkan dia. Sebab dia dah terangkat dari belakang. Kena support lagi, tak apa, benda kita menang bola dulu.
Jangan kita buat baru.
Kita boleh buat ni. No. Jangan pressure. Play on. Buat balik. Boleh tak? Guys, dia akan main cepat ni apa? Dia akan main laju. Alright. Jadi dia bola dengan kita. Kita sakit. Come on boy. Wih, semangat Aman. Simpan bola. Passion. Boleh. Dia raki awak tu keluar. Kita ikut dah. Saya masuk kita buat balik. Okey.
Sibang.
Ini ganti dengan ni. Okey. Next one 3 1 2 3. Besar. Saya ngawal. Merah putih mesin tu.
Well, we're back ready to start this second half, and it's Malaysia against Thailand. Just the one score in it. It was scored early in the first half by Panupong from Thailand. The Thai team in the yellow, now playing from your left. Malaysia to start. Some non-stop verbals at half-time from the coaches. From one hand, it would be Malaysia being asked to find the form that they had yesterday. They were told in no uncertain terms after the match against the Philippines that just by being unbeaten on day one and beating the top seed didn't mean that they were home and guaranteed of the gold medal. They had to front up again on day two. And for Thailand, of course, it's a matter of not doing this. Keep your mistakes to a minimum. Thailand, the players working extra hard over the last 2 minutes because of the Sindaning.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Oh, nicely done too. That's a one against the head. Malaysia putting the ball in, but Thailand winning it. Whoa, what a monstrous hit. Right in centre field, they dislodged the ball and might well have won it. That's very good defence by Malaysia. Perhaps a turning point. Oh, and then they also make the mistake under pressure. Just keep it calm, says Apachai. He went for the ball.
Go, please.
Substitution being made. The clock will stop. Off goes Amir.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Oh my word, Thailand playing it well. Well, that probably wasn't the right option, but they get away with it. And they will recover possession. Standing in the tackle and then the kick and chase. How does this sit up? It sits up nicely. Thailand in again. And the man who was doing the calming just a few moments ago, Apachai, gets in and scores the second try for the team from Thailand. Kick and chase now. We were talking earlier about what that oval ball can do. It's so unpredictable at times. It worked very well for Apachai, and the first points of the second half go the way of Thailand. They now lead by 12, and the flag stayed down. That might be an important conversion miss. But here we see it again. Sit up, and it was so difficult for Azwan to counter once the ball had moved away from him at right angles. He couldn't stop and gather it. So 12-0 Thailand. Halfway through the second spell.
Time off.
Thailand yesterday, narrow loss to Singapore. 2 big wins against Indonesia and Cambodia. Malaysia, a narrow win over Singapore, an impressive win over the Philippines. And this might well be a match later that we look forward to. Philippines against Thailand, the last of the round robin matches. Was that player in front? We'll soon find out. The referee's let it go. It's been knocked on again. Penalty this time. Quickly taken. Malaysia need to get on the board. Time's running out. Wow, big storming run. But they haven't been inside the Thailand 22 as yet. This time, Thailand not missing the tackles. If one doesn't quite make it, there's a support player in there. There's a gap this time. Oh, that was slightly forward. The offload is made, the tackle is made, and the knock-on comes under pressure from Thailand. Malaysia, 5 metres out, their best attacking opportunity to date.
Let's go. Let's go. Time off.
This to Azwan. And unable to hold it. He dived desperately for it. But sadly for him, he got a finger to it and knocked it forward.
What's on?
Players doing their own running repairs.
Come. Come, let's go. You finished?
A bit slow getting out there. The player was calling for some attention to an injured ankle. Clock has stopped, so it's not time wasting. 4 minutes 58 gone. The final 2 minutes still time. Gosh, sevens matches can be won on the last second of a game.
Crouch!
Thai scrum has been good. They've pushed hard, they've won tight heads. Malaysia might attempt to do the same to them here. They do, they push, and they get the ball, but they get a penalty against them. Loose head prop just breaking away too soon.
Make sure of the gap.
And so the Thai team will breathe a little bit easier. Shaidan, number 8.
Early out, yeah?
Standing at the front of the line out.
In. In. Like.
That's a clean take from Panopong, the man who scored the first points. Good speed. Oh, darting on the outside, just held by the jersey, but they've made it up to the 50-metre mark. So they're at the halfway, and there's a penalty in the tackle. Malaysia conceding too many penalties. And they'll be looking up at that clock now and realising we're down to 30 seconds to go. They go for the touch. They'll get the throw in. And what they'll be endeavouring to achieve now is to just hold on to that ball.
Open. On him, yeah? In. Who's that?
So Thailand. Clock is stopped.
Where's the card? Who's off this?
Not sure what the hold-up is.
Where's the card? Where's the card?
Or they're doing a check of teams, a check of numbers. Ooh, have to be very careful of this.
Wait.
All right, here we go. 20 seconds left. Find their target, but it's not clean. Malaysia. Break inside the half. Clock counts down. They won't have time. If these tackles are made, the offload's a beauty. Malaysia on the board. Azmi Zulkifli, their captain. And that's it though. They can't win this game. They'd won 3 yesterday. And it is the Thai team which has upset Malaysia here on the final day. Let's have a look at this again. The break was made, the pass was good, and the try has not been given, or has it? Oh yes, it has. Malaysia 12-7. I just noticed the score check hadn't moved at all, but it was underneath the crossbar. The conversion was successful, and Thailand upset Malaysia. This really does make the men's competition very, very interesting indeed. 12-7. Team watching this very closely would have been our next side, and that's the Philippines, the team which won this title in 2015. It's the Philippines lineup. Team Singapore. Team Singapore. Well, they yesterday had that 21-19 win over Thailand, a team which is proved to be in better form on day two. They won that 21-19. They lost to Malaysia 10-12. They beat Indonesia 52-5. And up against them, Philippines with a 47-0 win over Indonesia, 47-7 Cambodia, and then that 24-14 loss to Malaysia. Philippines team have two coaches, former All Black Frano Botica and also Dave Johnson.
Here to go, keep your boys behind you, alright? Come on now.
Blue. Philippines playing on the left. Got some quite sizable players. And consistently over the years have had players who,
First one by Blue.
what you might call expats, people who perhaps have come from Filipino background, or one of the parents may be Filipino, but they've been born in places like England and Australia and so on. Very much getting into a stage where there's more and more Filipino players involved in this.
Sit.
So Singapore in the red, on attack. They're inside the 22. Oh, that's nice work, holding the ball up high, which can be dangerous, but also allows the arm to be free to release. Now where's an offload required? A metre short of the line. Brilliant start by Singapore. Defence coming up very quickly though and cutting down those gaps. Oh, but not cutting them down well enough. Again, Singapore up to within a metre of the line, and they get a penalty which might be taken quickly. It is. Philippines having to watch their defensive work. Oh, beautiful offload. That smashing defence on Singapore. Player doing well not to take it to hand for fear of knocking it on, and then the Singapore attack comes to naught. So that's early attacking from the men in red. The volcanoes of the Philippines.
Thanks. Matt's here. Play on.
This time, Philippines with possession. A long way out from the opposition goal line and concede a penalty taken quickly, nudged through. Oh, there might be a bit of luck here for Singapore, unable to gather. That required a wee toe ahead, just that instant decision to go with the pickup rather than the toe. Works against them. And what do we have here? And the referee just having a stern word. It nearly worked. And yes, a little nudge ahead would have been the way to go.
Crouch. Bind. Sit. Hold it. Bind up.
Oh, and from attack to defence, but there is a sprinter chasing here. He won't be able to cut down Philip Harrison, and Harrison scores well against the run of play, and Philippines lead. 3 minutes 50 gone. And that was from way back over his own goal line. He probably wasn't banking on having to run that far at any stage. But he does. And Harrison scores for Philippines.
Let's go.
The 2 is added, and it's 7-0. From the restart, pressure on Singapore, but they do regain possession okay, and then a pleasing sound for them of the whistle sounding in their favour. A penalty which is taken quickly. My word, that was a very good tackle which ends up with a knock on and a player down on the ground.
Lost forward. Yeah. Time off. Give him time. Yeah. Got someone covered. It's your spot.
Certainly he made the tackle, but his head and the attacking player's hip met with some force. We may have a little break here while this player is attended to. has been an intriguing match between these two. Singapore and Philippines, always great rivals. And there's Fano Bodika to the right, just moving across here. Former All Black who won was a member of the Rugby World Cup 15-a-side winning team in 1987, and then had a stellar rugby league career as well. He's been involved with the Philippines team. Quite a lengthy break, and one thing as in all physical sports now, in rugby union, they are very, very careful about the treatment of any head injuries, and there have been more and more cases of players with concussion being taken out of the game until all sorts of protocols and procedures were completed. So this may well be the case here. The Philippines team also have Chris Everingham, whose brother Andrew played rugby league for the Rabbitohs in the NRL. So both Chris and Andrew have played here in the Philippines. And just again still watching to make sure that everything's okay. See here this try once more. And it was, look at the red shirts that were there. There were 4 players in his face, and he still decided to take that risk, and it worked out for him. We're back into play now after this injury break. Philippines against the run of play, leading by 7-0. Breakout try, which ran the entire length of the field. And they're looking to test the Singapore defence once more. Christopher Hitch was across, couldn't quite make the tackle. Oh, and there's the offload again. A tackle needs to be made, and the pass and the offload was not accurate enough, and Singapore have a chance to breathe again. But that's a good tackle too. They might have turned it over. No. Singapore inside the 22. No way through there. It's just hit it up and wait until your players get into the position. He's held. This man is quite a dangerous runner if he can get free, but the Philippines are onto this forward pass. So Singapore trying to break out under pressure. Number 3 Zaki down and receiving attention. It's a physical game, as you know, but over the period of a sevens tournament, the players can be out on the field for lengthy periods. They 3 games yesterday, all played in about 32 degrees yesterday. This sort of way he's holding his right arm tends to suggest shoulder injury. Oh yes, you can see there connection right on the point of his right shoulder.
Thank you. Time back on.
So that's Saki, I think, leaving for Singapore now. He's been replaced. First half has almost reached its full duration. Philippines using the power of Teng to break it, Young to break up. Oh, that's a good run up and a smash in the face by Nicholas Yeo, which really ended that dangerous looking attacking situation for the Philippines. The first half is completed. And it's 7-0. Philippines leading Singapore in a match which will determine what position these two are playing for when it comes medal time. And with the upset earlier today, they all have plenty to play for.
Opening up once we get the ball a bit longer, just a bit more longer, we will score the try. Alright, keep the pressure on them. Right now, ready. Hey guys, keep the ball work. Third thing for me, sorry. Confidence, guys. Yeah, let's have the confidence to win this. Hey, please, hey, we can lah, boys. Guys, can do this. Start scanning for space, guys. Yeah. Hey, we are not going anywhere. We're just going to be taking up to them. Yeah, be smart about it. Stretch them, stretch them. Yeah. They're fucking fat. They're lazy. Stretch them. Hey, if you go through, set it up. If no one supports with you, release, go again.
Keep building the phases, okay? Let's not just get into a panic and pressure. Okay, there's no panic on us. All right, we just keep doing our business, piece by piece by piece.
Yeah, boys, I would have been honest. As long as you process, boys. One thing. Advantage on when you get to the advantage, fucking leg drive, right? Leg drive, get us over it.
Come on, let's go. Come on, 7 minutes.
He's good.
1, 2, 3, 2.
Let's go, boys.
The Singapore coaches Marcus Yeo and Daniel Thiam, they won the bronze medal in 2015 in the men, and their women's team, and of course there's women's competition as well, they won the silver medal. Singapore team has been out to Australia. They've had some preparation out there. The Philippines have been well worked too as they prepare for this major tournament. And the Philippines had the advantage as the defending champions of leading by 7-0. Philippines made their first appearance at an IRB series match or tournament in 2012 at the Hong Kong Sevens. And now they're here in this crunch match as defending champions against a side which is giving them a real tough battle. Singapore losing yesterday by just 2 points to Malaysia, who have since been upset today. So these teams are all ending up with similar points. And Singapore would dearly love to win this to perhaps ensure that they play for gold. Oh, and that's been lost. Knocked on just when things were starting to open up. Jonathan Hong, ball knocked out of his hands by the defenders. (7-0) Singapore on attack. Just out from their 22. That left-hand white line is their 22. There's no need to panic. There's lots of time. They need to score twice, and getting one will be good. This is a great sprint. Anyone waiting? No. Outstanding run. And Singapore are on the board. He's looked threatening. When he had that opportunity, my word, he did take it. There's no sign of delight at all. 7 points to 5. Mohamed Mara is the man who scores. And he knows that he's set it up now for a big finale. Determination. He looked both ways, and then he eventually realized there was no sound of thundering hooves behind him, and he had the comfort of falling over the line in front of Ricky Cuchilla. So 7-all. Wow, here we go. Who makes the first mistake? Not Singapore at the moment. Oh, what a rush up hit, and control lost by Singapore now. Philippines, that was a deadly tackle. They now have to make tackles just as effective. A penalty. Well, are they taking it quickly? They could have taken a shot at goal, but they're not. Oh, brilliant! Brilliant Singapore! Ting Chong Chow. Magnificent run. I thought maybe a shot at goal would have been the option here with so little time and it being 7-all, but he backed himself and finished it off with a flourish. Matias Chia adds the extra 2. It is Singapore in front by 7-14. I bet that felt good. It's all up to the Philippines to respond instantly. There's still tons of time. 2.5 minutes. Singapore in front for the first time. They were down by 7-0 at half-time. The restart is quite deep. The ball goes back and it's then knocked on. So Singapore can now guarantee that they'll have the ball for at least the next 15 seconds as the scrum sets down. And the clock will stop now as it has at 4 minutes and 57 seconds. For injury. This is a chance too for Singapore to just consider what they want to do here. They don't want to give the ball to the Philippines, so their scrum has to be good. It's a fairly powerful Philippines unit though. Let's see, do they hold, do they get their own ball, Singapore? Can the Philippines attack them? Philippines start to attack, but the ball's quickly delivered out of midfield. That's the halfway line. Long, quite laboured passes. This is good option here to cut it back to where the support might be. Oh, lovely kick. What sort of bounce? He does the right thing. He chips it on and they fight over it. But they've got the try, have they? It might well not have been. They're going to have a look at this. There were 2 players diving for the ball at the same time. And yes, you can look at that. So it looks like a slow motion shot, a still shot. Everyone with their hands up in the air, eventually in consultation with the assistant referees. The try is awarded to Singapore. And it looked as though they were suggesting Dukwano was the scorer. There were the 3 brothers, Dukwano, playing for Singapore at one stage. Just the one now. Xavier. Here's the break. Offend. The little kick and a lucky break coming off the heel of one of the defenders. Now let's look at this closely. Who's going to go for it? Well, Dukwano did, number 8, and he gets it and claims it, and they lead by 21-7. Singapore up. 3 tries in the second spell. Jonathan Hong, number 12. Here's the try scorer, Dukwano. Just half a minute remaining. Singapore will be absolutely thrilled with this win against the defending champions. They were beaten by Malaysia yesterday. Oh, the hooter sounds. And even though your clock shows 6:48, the officials agree that 7 minutes had gone by. The ball is hoofed over the touchline, and the match ends with Singapore beating the Philippines by 21-7 after trailing 7-0 at half-time. An outstanding second half performance by the men in red. Next up is this women's match featuring Singapore. I bet they've been thrilled by what they've seen from their men's team, and they'll be playing Laos. Singapore women's team were silver medalists in 2015. So far, they have had victories over Malaysia and Philippines, and they've been beaten by Thailand. Teams onto the field now.
Nào lên tan. Someone go. Someone go.
Laos. They are firmly the underdogs in this match.
Ready, ready. Okay, Singapore.
Bongdala ready to start. She's there with the ball, ready to go. Singapore team ready to receive it if it gets that far, and it does. It's found a little gap actually. That's not a bad start by Laos, keeping Singapore back. Big hit up there by Jan. Got some very physical players here within this Singapore team. That's a lovely pass made by Chan Jia, and now we see how much pace they've got out wide. Lee Han Ni. So I think the objective from Singapore will be to move that ball out as wide as fast as they can, although maybe the pace that she had at the start of the match isn't quite there after what looks like a little bit of a hip strain. On Pei on this side with the grey headgear. Eventually they get the ball free. Slipping straight through is Chan Jia, and now here's some more pace out wide. Nur Shuhada. So Singapore in front early on in a match which they are expected to win quite comfortably. But one thing about being the favourites is that they have to keep that control and discipline and not just let the occasion get to them. Accuracy is very important, particularly later in the day when it comes to the playoffs. $7-0 Singapore over Laos. The team which has scored the points has the restart. This is where an ability by the kicker to get the ball nice and high and then allow her teammates to get up and challenge the catcher is very important. So you can see there that Singapore have already gained 20 metres out of this. Even though they haven't the possession, they're able to force the opposition into rough decisions or hasty decisions. More knock on there by Eunice Chu.
Great.
So far we haven't seen the team in white with the ball at all, just from that kick-off where they were forced back by the pressure from Singapore.
Sit. Come.
Now they have it. See what they do. Nice chop back. Oh, nice sidestep. And pace too. Oh, she might go all the way. Budsadi Gongola. What a run. What a try. That's spectacular. Very proud coaching group. Watch this. This came from nothing really. She was the first receiver, stepped inside that first tackle and sidestepped 2 or 3. And then back to self. Well, she had to. There was no one with it. So I tried to. Prong Dala was out wide. (7-5). Not going all Singapore's way at the moment. Lovely footwork. And then with the ball tucked up under that arm and just a glance to her right every now and then to see what sort of an impact the defenders were making. They weren't going to catch her, but they'd make a score way out wide. So it's just a 5-pointer rather than a 7. So Danger Woman, we must watch that. Number 5 for Laos. See if she gets any more opportunities like that. Oh, wow, that was the perfect run. The gap was there. The pass was delivered and she took that gap at pace. Eunice Chu. Gives the ball to Ne Shuhada for the conversion. And so Singapore bounced back from that little fright they received a few minutes ago and score their second try. They're up by 14-5. Singapore 14-5. Singapore yesterday with a win over Malaysia and one over Philippines, but a loss to Thailand. So winning this may well, yet to be confirmed, put them in line for the playoff for gold and silver. There's still another match to go though in the women's competition, and that's between Philippines and Malaysia. Half-time hooter sounds, but there's still a play to go in this first half. Can they score just on the hooter to sort of put this beyond doubt? Oh, and they're going to. Poor defence here from Laos and Lee Han Ni. does what all teams try to do. That last play before the break is to add some more points so that it makes them feel better. Their coach isn't quite so angry at half-time when he sees that the score is far more comfortable. So 19 points to 5. Kick to come, and then it will be half-time, Singapore against Laos. Nope, misses. 19-5, the half-time score.
Okay, well, 3 subs at half time. So 2 coming for Hong, 2 coming for Chu, and Susan coming for Jia. And then I'll roll the rest of the subs. Yeah. Just keep the momentum, keep it clean. Your depth is nice, you're moving the ball well. Okay, you want to run the pull out? If you want to pull out, the gap in front of you appears. Let's go for it. Okay. Enjoy this game.
Yes.
Okay.
Guys, but we can do better, yeah? Yeah. You know that we're better. Standards. Yeah. Okay, focus. 3, 2, 1.
ฟังจิวบทก่อนดอกไม้บอกว่า7 คนได้เดินให้ดังเสียงเสียคนเสียอยู่ใกล้กันที่จะไปเล่นรอบนั้นเห็นป่ะ
It's an uphill battle now for this team in white. They did score one very good try in the first half, but they trail by 19-5 against the more favoured Singapore team. However, they have shown quite a good attacking ability, and that try by Vangala was one to remember from this women's competition at the Sevens. High kick. Kioma couldn't hold it, and so Singapore do get the bounce, and now they will have the chance to attack again. Way out wide, standing still. Now trying to set it up for the offload, which she did beautifully, but the receiver wasn't in the right spot for the pass. Castro has flicked the ball into a support player. And nice work. Lai Puisan. So that's the opening of the second half that Singapore really did desire. They wanted to make sure that the 19 points wasn't the end of it for them. They wanted to stretch that early, so they've done the right thing. Absolutely perfectly, scoring just before the break and just after the break. The referee just getting the opposition team out of the road of the conversion attempt. 24 points to 5. That's what it remains, 24-5 early in the second spell of this women's match at the Southeast Asian Games Rugby Sevens. Singapore in control. She just bided her time and then backed herself when she got to the line. So Singapore again with a restart. Puts it high again, and that's a nice kickoff, but didn't quite go the 10. One player down with injury, and her teammates just leave it. Oh no, someone's having a look. Looks like Ketong. Just a bit awkward on the knee and ankle perhaps. Oh no, she's clutching a calf, so perhaps a bit of a stretch there.
Okay, change it.
A bit more than a wee stretch by the looks of it. That looks very painful. Second half, 2 minutes 25 old. 24-5, Singapore leading. She's not even going to walk off. She's requiring some assistance here, so it certainly must be a bit more serious than it appeared. It seemed to be an innocuous little landing. But she felt it immediately in her calf. The next game we'll have today will be the second of our women's matches between Philippines and Malaysia. Malaysia unbeaten, Philippines with 1 loss. Oh, sorry, no, that's not right. The Philippines have 1 win. I was reading off the men's sheet that I'd drafted out here, and I thought that doesn't appear to be right. Singapore. Well, Laos had it. That was knocked on. Hard luck there for Maxi, who had her hands on the ball and just looked to where she was going to pass it and lost control. Teo. She's the halfback for Singapore. Gathers it up nicely. Swift pass 2. Gets the back line in action. Nice cut back. Delivery was good. Well, nice overhand. And there's brilliant collect again. This is Lai Puisan. Scored that previous try, but she's held up here. Now Singapore have it once more. Getting it out into centre field. Pace required now. Tackling required from Laos, and they make it. Nice defensive, desperate tackle. But is it going to hold Singapore up? I fear not. And that's try number 5 for Singapore. They extend their lead now to 29 points to 5.
Why, please.
The goal kicking hasn't been anything spectacular, but the try scoring has been. The Laos defenders will be a bit angry with themselves for this. They had plenty of numbers there, and I'll be going back to that training session and start making sure they make those tackles. They do it at training. Here's the kick-off along the ground. Oh, and this might work Singapore's way again. No, it's out of play, and we're going to have a rear line-out.
No. Touch ball. Who lost touch ball? White, okay. Throw in, red ball.
1.5 minutes remaining of this match. Women's preliminary game between Singapore and Laos.
10 meter.
Comfortable take for the team in red. On the halfway now, and just inside it, they move it out to the left. Who have seen they've got very agile, elusive runners. Jane Chan is a player on the ground now. It's picked up by Samantha Teo, and she just has a go and uses a big fend, and then opens up with some very impressive speed. Caught from behind, but she picks it up again. She wasn't held. Oh, the touch judge has his flag out. What's he going to say to the referee here? That she played it when held? Okay, and it was.
Okay, no try.
No try, but impressive play. Is this a fend? Yes, it was. Right into the chest. And then that player she fended, though, came back and dragged her down. Not sure about that. And but the touch judge is right there and says he influences the referee. 29-5.
Yes.
Hooter sounds. We will have this final play, though. Will it go the way of the team in white or the team which has won this match? It's 29-5. Singapore looking at more points in the competition, adding to their desire to finish up with a gold medal. That's a big shunt from them, and they take the penalty quickly. Offload, swing it out here out to the right. They could stretch the Laos defence again, and they do. Oh, and hard luck. The last pass just not going to hand, and so that will be the final play of this match. The hooter has sounded already, 7 minutes gone, and it is a victory for Singapore over Laos by 29 points to 5.
Singapore 29 and Laos 5.
Full game.
Seen the two lineups then for this final women's preliminary match between Philippines and Malaysia. They have some grand tussles, these two nations. And both the men's and women's competition. Coach of Philippines, Shirley Russell, and here's the coach from Malaysia. Last minute instructions, of course. Noise out there, it's fantastic.
Black, Philippines, you ready? Ready? Good. Malaysia behind the ball, please.
Malaysia were beaten by Singapore by 15-0 and by Thailand 38-5. Philippines had losses to Thailand and Singapore as well, so this really is a crunch match between these two. We'll have a look afterwards when the games are completed to see who plays off for the medals. The competition playoffs begin at 1:45 this afternoon. So we still have 3 men's preliminary games to play. Philippines-Malaysia, second of our women's matches today at the Rugby Sevens in Kuala Lumpur. The SEA Games 2017. Gosh, there's some vigour in that. Malaysia obviously keen. The defensive work, and the hits being put in. It's certainly not a sedate sport, is it? With the ball, halfback Cindy John with the red headgear. She puts the ball in. The forward pack, monster the opposition. She runs straight backwards and gives it to Zahari. The kick is claimed nicely by the defender from Philippines, who felt that. That was a rugged way to receive the ball. Zahari, just a little grin there as she comes back. Malaysia starting strongly. There it goes. As Monica Hayes from Philippines took it, she was met with all sorts of aggression from Malaysia. She's not going to let it worry her. She stands up, gets back into position. Kick is made into touch. So line out early in this game. No score yet. Philippines, Malaysia. Philippines in the blue. Beautiful take off the opposition throw. But a penalty. So Malaysia playing with a great deal of intent. Philippines now trying to break from their own goal line. This player not wanting to go down at all. Just inside the 22 now. Philippines have it. Looking to move it. Under pressure. She did well to hold the ball, but knocked it on.
Scrum. Yellow ball.
Sylvia Tudor there, the number 3 for Philippines, breathing heavily. A lot of whistle in this game so far. Several penalties, and also I've seen a number of knock-ons. So we just hope it does flow a bit better than this. Malaysia with the put in. Good defence. Aggressive defence from Philippines, putting Malaysia under pressure. Ridwan flips it off to David. Henrietta David, 15 metres out from the Philippines goal line. This is constant attack from Malaysia. That's a great tackle right out of the line and smacking into the opposition, Nabil Salinas. But Malaysia do bounce back with this. They retain possession, and joy on the sideline for the team from Malaysia as the first points are scored after a prolonged period of attack. Tackle was made, but she managed to get that up nicely, and that was a very good pass and an all the way run in for Mengi Dayeng. 5 points to nil. And we've had 5 minutes of the first half. So good combination between the two.
Behind, please, yellow.
The Philippines now wanting to stop the rot. They have hardly been in the half of their opposition to date. They need to just control the ball a little bit better. And not like that.
Check your tackle, okay? Check your tackle like that.
Fortunately, they keep possession, keep the tackles down. Anything above the shoulder now is deemed to be a penalisable offence. Good defence here from Malaysia and hard work at the breakdown.
Still advantage. Back. Advantage over.
Salinas, she's strong in the tackle. Oh, and that pass should have been taken. Monica Hayes, she had her hands on it. Now she picks it up and goes down the short side. Turned the wrong way, and there may well be a penalty here against Malaysia. Oh no, knock on. Hayes looked to be trying to release the ball. Tackle was right on top of her. See there from the Philippines, Angela Sarr just saying to the referee, was that not as high as the one earlier? Ball being put in now by Malaysia on 7 minutes. Will they attack from here or just put it out of play? They decide to go the cautious way, and 7 minutes have gone in this game. Philippines against Malaysia. This team here, the Malaysians, leading by 5-0.
Henrita, korang dah kau kena tengok extra kena check. Korang tak boleh naik terus, kita dah tunggu ya. Okey, bila check tadi kalau dia sempat tapi dapat tackle tak apa lah. Kena make sure. Bila check dengan extra. Dayang tadi tengok Rugby. Kata apa, kau ambil cepat sangat dengan dia dapat extra. So you kena check, kena panggil member dari kemana.
Support the pass, we're letting it down because we're not supporting that pass. Alright, you girls can do this. Alright, this is your game. Do not let it go from you. You have to win it. Alright,
you got this, girls. Come on, you got this.
Atito. Jangan maaf. Yes. Tara! Uso, utak! Second half, utak on 3. Game, girl. Utak on 3. 1, 2, 3. Utak! Kicking long.
Well done. Keep the momentum, girls. I want to be like that. Continue terus. Okay? Hard out, girls. Hard out.
Yes.
Please. Baik. Boleh. Kalau cakap ni. Buat passional. Dia dah bola dulu. Bagus. Stay back. Sini. No point. Stay back. Next move. Lepas dia up. Close. Dia up. Lepas close up. That's your pressure. Go there. Offside. Penalty. Go there. Offside. No point.
Panas lagi.
We need to control the second game, okay? Yes! Ready? Yes! Fire!
This final women's preliminary match in the Rugby Sevens is about to resume, and it's very, very tight. Malaysia leading by 5-0 over Philippines. Will it be the team that scores first after the kickoff that wins this match, gets that advantage? 5-0. 7 minutes to play. Louise Bird has the ball. Responds to the referee's whistle with a long dropout. Oh, and a knock on, a clumsy attempt at receiving the ball, lack of communication. Cindy John there, the number 11. She's playing halfback.
Front row, left and right. This good. Hold the. Okay, opponent front row, right?
Angela Sa, number 1 for Philippines. She puts the ball in. Her opponent is onto her, but she does manage to free it up now. What can Philippines do early? Helena Ind. Oh, a lovely cut through. Can she go all the way? She certainly can. That's a stunning start for Philippines. Nice pass. She had room and she just exploded between those two defenders and touches down. It's Raciel Sales. So, I mentioned, first team to score in the second half. Will it be the team that wins this game? Is the conversion good enough? Under the bar. Straight enough, but not long enough. 5-all. They battled through 7 minutes of the first half for no reward, and now they have the 5 points. This is all tied up. Again they go long. This time Malaysia's safer. Not too accurate. Some speed out wide. One player to beat, and the tackle is made and the ball is lost. Fasha looking good running down that right-hand touchline. She appeared to almost have the legs to beat the sole defender. So a good run from her. Ball safely won. Not a great pass, but well controlled by Sylvia Tudok. Cutback pass to the try scorer, Sales. She goes to the ground, delivers it to the halfback again. Camilla Haas. And now she's got it with Helena Ind. Ah, gosh, Philippines, this is a different team to what we saw in the first half. Whatever the message was at half-time, it's been a good tonic. That's 5-all. Player out wide. Oh, and the pass wasn't good enough. And a definite opportunity for Philippines goes missing, goes begging. Philippines now, Malaysia now with the ball. Long pass from Aziz. Goes out wide, and here's this speedy winger again. And she's through. She's got one to beat. And oh, what a tackle. She plays it again, but she's tackled again. Tremendous defence for what looked to be a certain try. And she's done 2 big sprints of late. But Sales there, the number 12, I think she's the one who chased her down. She gets away from one, and now it was an out-and-out sprint. And soon I think we'll see the shadow come in, and then the figure and a diving tackle. That was outstanding defence. Still 5-all. Getting the crowd to their feet here. Now, Philippines play. Inside their 22. This is where mistakes must be kept to a minimum. Work space nicely here. Oh, and then that's where the mistake should not have been made. Oh, Philippines. No need to offload there when it wasn't perfect. The Malaysian team know now this is an opportunity. Here it goes. Trying to get the pass away to Sylvia Tudok. Right, what happens here? Coming up to 5 minutes. Scores 5-all.
Coach! Bye! Set!
Malaysia ball. Big scrum from the Philippines. Trying to push their opposition off. Having a replacement.
6 off.
As the pressure starts to tell a wee bit here.
Ready?
Coach! Bye! Set!
Well won by the Philippines. They're on their 22. This is the danger runner. Scored a try already. And shown how good she is in cover defence as well. Oh, good big pass out wide, but Malaysian defence comes across, trying to stop Salinas in her tracks. They're holding her up, and down to the ground she goes now. Delivers the ball back. Kamala. Just holding possession, but 5-all isn't enough. These teams, they want to win this game. Where's the half? There it goes. That's the 10-metre mark now, but it's still within the team in possession's territory. Big struggle to the ground. Picked up now by Salinas. That's the halfway mark. Philippines holding it, but just. Oh, this is looking good for them. They've got numbers out wide. There's a very good pass. Here she goes. Helena End. Didn't quite get the break she wanted. Had a bit of room. The Malaysian defence is tenacious. Can they mark this outside area? Angela Sarr. The pass finds Madil Salinas. High tackle. It was two, I think. What are we having here? Time. Clock has been stopped. Oh gosh, will this be a card? I think it might be. He's reaching into a sock. He doesn't reach there for anything other than a yellow card. So a high tackle has seen Malaysia reduced to 6 players, and the clock shows 7 minutes. So we'll be at the final play, and the Philippines have an extra person on the pitch. 5-all. When the whistle sounds this time, it will indicate the commencement of the last play. Philippines have an extra player on the pitch. The tackle is made, and Malaysia will need to defend like they never have before. Oh, here we go. The pass just needs to be taken, and it wasn't. Salias, who'd scored earlier an outstanding try, had the line at her mercy and has knocked the ball on. Here we go. The pass wasn't that bad, was it? No, just reaching for it and couldn't control. And so the Philippines, who had the winning of the match right there, end up at 5-all. It's been an exhausting match. 5-all at full time at the end of 14. And the two teams come off the pitch with the officials. And this last round robin match, or preliminary match, in the women's rugby sevens at KL 2017 has ended in a very tight result. 5-all the score. Philippines against Malaysia.